In this video, we'll be exploring a national wildlife refuge, taking pictures of bighorn sheep, and snowshoeing in Grand Teton National Park. Good morning. It is currently 0 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now here in Jackson, and we're gonna go look at some bighorn sheep this morning. Important rules whenever you go onto the National Elk Refuge. Please make sure that the bighorn sheep do not lick your car. Licking the salt from your car can easily spread disease throughout the herd. So make sure you keep your distance if you do decide to come out here and take a look at the bighorn sheep. And a lot of the time they're going to be in the road. And if they are in the road, I'll show you what to do. But essentially you just want to lay down on the horn and move forward slowly and they'll get out of your way. There's a bunch on the right here in this little turnout where that lady's parked. So all these hikers on the right, they have to be really careful not to let them lick their car, but come on, shoot, come on. So that's what you're supposed to do, is you're supposed to honk at them and get them away from your car. So I got the camera out of the car, and there's 2 bighorn rams right over here, and there's a whole group of what they're called as ewes. They're female bighorn sheep. I see a few rams in that little herd there too. Get some decent pictures. Nope, don't you do it. Don't you do it. So yeah, and in situations like that, like what just happened, that bighorn was getting a little close and I was hanging out by my car, and as soon as I could kind of gauge that he was probably going to try and approach the car to try and lick it, that's when I decided I'm just going to get out of here and I'm going to lay down on the horn and see if I can get him away. Because you do not want them to be anywhere near your car, or else they'll just be licking it, and that causes a whole string of issues regarding disease and everything like that. So make sure that you do not let them lick your car. So it is a frigid day out. It was sub-zero this morning. It's probably currently like 5 degrees Fahrenheit. My hands are cold, but I got gloves at least. But right now I'm kind of approaching these bighorns over here. I'm still going to keep more than 25 yards away because I want to give them as much space as possible, while still getting some fun pictures. I've already gotten some great pictures of some of the rams, but it's interesting to see what their behavior is here. So you'll see a handful of them are in this parking lot right here, and they're licking the rocks and they're trying to find any little bit of salt that they can. But I'll try and get some video on my phone so you guys can get a closer look at what these guys do. So this is what they do. They're all hanging out in this little parking lot here. And that guy, they're just waiting for more cars to show up so they can lick them. Yeah, you see them? They try to get up close and personal to the car. Meanwhile, this ram was trying to tell if that ewe is in season. That's why he was kind of going behind her and doing that weird yeah, that right there. He's trying to tell if she's in season or not. Yeah, this big guy right here is clearly interested in me, but I gotta make sure I keep 25 yards. Gonna head back to the car. So, car's right over here. I got this big guy chasing after me for some reason, kind of slowly. Get some pictures while I back away, but I know for a fact he's probably gonna go for my frickin' car, knowing these guys. But I'll cross over here. Just make sure whenever you're out here, if they do stuff like this where they kind of are approaching you, just back up with your chest facing them. You can turn around every now and then if you want, but just make sure you're keeping that distance. So what I like to do is I like to stick out my thumb like this and close one eye, and if my thumb covers the entire animal, I'm more than 25 yards away typically. Because it's kind of hard to eyeball it occasionally, but this guy is maintaining exactly like 25 yards this entire time I'm walking backwards. But I'll get some pictures while I traverse like this. He knows, he knows my car is right over here. So the other fun part about the National Elk Refuge is that there are in fact elk out here, specifically in the winter time. They'll migrate down here depending on snowfall. They can migrate as early as late October or as late as December, January. But typically December, the beginning of December, we start to see a lot move on to the refuge. Right now, the total count is above 5,000 elk, I know that. And there's a big herd just right out there. But they'll hang out here all winter long. And then come spring in April and May, they'll migrate back out through the north end of the refuge, which is incredible. So there's that big herd of elk, and then there's the town of Jackson right here. And I saw there's a few other ones. Yep, right over here too. Just hanging out. Decided to call it a day after that bighorn sheep encounter, so I headed out to Grand Teton National Park with some snowshoes to go explore around and see what I could find. Somehow I got up here. I'm gonna see if these snowshoes handle okay. Already I'm sinking a little bit, but not too much. So maybe it'll be fine. Let's find out. So for reference, bottom of that tree is way down there. Same thing with these other ones. So I'm actually probably a good couple feet above the actual ground, just because the snow has fallen and packed in that much, which is pretty impressive. So here is the amphitheater at Coulter Bay in the winter time. It's pretty spectacular. Oh, this snow is crunchy, icy, and hard because of all the snow melt from the trees. So on warm days, all the snow will melt. It'll drip down and form into ice. It'll create this thick layer. It's a little easier to walk on. Go out that way, I think. See if we can get a closer look at these tracks. Ooh, this is, it's hard to tell. So I found even more going all the way over here, down under that log, and further out by the base of those trees. Your guess is as good as mine as to what it is, unless I can see a clear paw print, which in the snow like this, where it's super fluffy, it's really hard to get a good imprint. See, there it is. looks a little different this time. Okay, looks like it stops here at the base of that tree. I've come across more tracks here. If you look closely, I don't want to mess them up, but it looks like wing imprints here maybe. My guess is this could be a ruffed grouse or something that landed, turned around, and went back towards that tree right there. I made it back to the main trail area, which looks like it's packed down enough for regular people. That's nice. I'm technically in a frozen part of the bay here, the Coulter Bay. Here's the shoreline. I'm technically out on the water right now. Trying to be careful. Feeling the ice. Making sure there's no empty spots that I'm missing that have melted without showing. There we go. That's pretty sweet. Got some more tracks that go all the way out towards that dock, up over here, across the other dock and up the hill, but I can't tell what it is. I want to say, based on the size, that it's a red fox, but it's actually really hard to tell. So I went snowshoeing for about an hour. Wasn't really seeing much, so I called it. And the sun is starting to set, so I'm headed to Signal Mountain Lodge to eat my dehydrated dinner. They have hot water over there, so you can always do that. So I'm gonna eat some dinner, watch the sunset, and see if anything else happens tonight. Signal Mountain Lodge. They keep their lobby open year-round. Specifically in the wintertime, they have hot water. They also do have a microwave and 2 bathrooms and a water refill station right there. So I'm going to let my dehydrated meal cook, and in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy this view. So I got done eating my dehydrated meal at Signal Mountain Lodge in their little lobby there. Really cool that they keep that open year round, but it is nightfall, so I should go home. Even though it's only 5:31 in the evening, the sun sets fast, and when the sun sets, everything gets frozen very quickly. Which normally isn't too much of an issue, but if you're driving around here and you don't have as much trust in your car or in your driving skills, I would consider making sure you make it back to town before the sun sets. But I did everything that I wanted to do today. Got to see a lot of cool stuff, got to do a lot of cool stuff, and now I'm gonna head home and put on some of the footage from the drive back.